Welcome back to Flourish. It's so great to be back with you guys. I was gone last week. I was suffering at a pastor's retreat in Palm Beach, Florida, and I missed you all, but I know Shelby did an amazing job. And right before I left, we had some exciting news on social media. So if you're not on social media and you aren't friends with my oldest son, Byron, or his wife, Christine, they announced that they're having a baby in August. So that means I am going to be a grandma for the very first time right around August 15th. We are so thrilled and beyond excited. And all you grandmas out there have been telling me for so many years, it's the best thing in the world. And I cannot wait to experience it for myself. While I was away, it was a little retreat for only 40 pastors around the country, and we were invited to attend. And it was just so amazing to just go and be around all of these other pastors' wives who are in similar seasons and professions as me, and just get to learn from them and get just new ideas. So I was so excited to meet Lauren Chandler, who wrote the Bible study, Steadfast Love. So if you were in our Bible study a couple of years ago, Lauren did a Bible study out of Psalm, and she was there with her husband, Matt, who's the pastor of Village Church in the Dallas area. And so I went up to her, so excited to meet her, and she told me that she has a brand new Bible study coming out called With Us in the Wilderness. And we have a little picture of the study. It literally came out like the week we were together, and it's out on Lifeway. And so it's the idea of this study is that so it's the people of Israel in numbers who are wandering around in the desert. And she said it's about when we are in times of loneliness, wandering, uncertainty, even rebellion, the Israelites still experience God's love and promises. God's character is steady through every wilderness season. So I'm hoping that maybe we can do this in the fall and get to learn more about it. So I loved meeting her. She was amazing. So anyway, we have bagels up top this is Valentine's week, and we're just so thankful and grateful for friends, for our gal friends and our best friends, and those that are in our group that we get to meet with every week. So Valentine's Day is not just for your sweetheart, it's for friendships too. So we're going to celebrate that today. We're going to call it Galentine's Day today as we think about all the friendships that God has given us. So grab a bagel, cream cheese. If you're coming back tonight, those of you watching online, we're having heart-shaped pizza. If you guys want to come back, you can come back for the pizza tonight. So I am going to give a few announcements, then we're going to play Galentine's Bingo in a few minutes. The first announcement is, and for all you people watching online, next week, we are having a special service here called Rise Above Lent Worship and Prayer Service next Wednesday night, February 17th at 7, right here in the worship house, which means next week we will only have morning Bible study. We won't have night Bible study. So if you're a night girl, you're watching online right now, come in the morning next week. You guys are fine. You will not be affected. We'll still have Bible study next week. But the only thing that it will affect is that we were supposed to take our love offering for childcare next week. We're going to push that back a week, and we're going to do that on the 24th. Is that the next week after the 17th? No one's helping me. Thanks for that. February 24th. You guys are all eating your bagels. You aren't even listening to me right now. Okay. The reason we take a love offering is because we want all of you moms of little kids to come to Bible study and not worry about paying every week like some churches do, and we won't mention any names. But we figure if we all just chip in, our cost for the semester is about $2,000 to pay all of our workers morning and night. So we have about, between morning, night, and virtual, we have about 200 plus women. So that's about $10 a person. So if you even don't have kids in the ministry, but you just want to help these young moms, everybody can chip in and we can get this taken care of. So thank you for doing that. 2 weeks from today. All right, one last thing. We have our hike day coming up this Monday, and we really haven't given too many details, so we're going to give some instructions and some details about that today, right now. So if you're planning on coming, Monday is a holiday. It's President's Weekend, I believe. So that's why we're going Monday, and Shelby has a little more details about this if you're planning to come.
Veronica's the detailed person, not me. I'm just going to tell you the details. So Santan Mountain, the trails are called Goldmine and Dynamite. It's like you could do Goldmine up and down, or you could do a loop, and it's the same. I don't know why it's 2 trails, but those are the trail names if you wanted to look those up before we come, or before we get there. And the other thing is there is parking, you have to pay for parking. It's the honor system, though. It's one of those little wooden boxes, and you don't know if they actually take the money out of there or not, but we have to, do the honor system. So it's $8 a vehicle. So if you want to drive yourself and pay the $8, you can, or you can roll with us in the church vans, and it's going to be fun. And we'll pay for parking. I've been there before, you also can park along the street and not in the parking lot and just walk up to the trail. Also, the road that we turn off is Wagon Wheel. Ooh, Wagon Wheel. So write those couple details down. And yeah. Oh, if you don't want to hike and you just want to come to lunch with us at the Olive Mill, feel free to do that too. I will for sure be there eating all the food. So.
All right. Thanks, Shelby. The 2 trails. So we're going to have people go on. Don't leave, Shelby. You have to stay up here. There's Dynamite. I think that's the one that goes straight up, right? Maria, she hikes that all the time. And it's a little more challenging, and there's rocks. So if you're up for a challenge, you can go straight up the Dynamite, or you can go around the mountain, the Goldmine Trail. That's where I'm going. It's a little less steep of an incline, no rocks. And then we meet at the top. And the 2 trails meet, and then we can come back down and go to lunch. We'll probably be at the Olive Mill, I think, around 11:30. So just plan if you're coming just for lunch at 11:30. Yes? For parking? Oh, okay. In her car, left in her car. Okay, don't leave your purse visible in your car. And it's actually $7 cash to pay for parking if you're in the lot, but there's also a long road that leads up to the parking lot that it's free if you park along the road. You won't get towed like we did last year. Okay, bring cash, bring dollars. Thank you for that. We actually took a hike last year up to Superstition Springs, and one of our girls got towed, and we all pitched in. It was like several $100s to get her car back. So we don't want anyone getting towed. We're going to drive both red vans from the church. So if you want to meet here at 9 at the coffee shop, grab a coffee. And then we'll all ride together in the van. You won't even have to worry about this. All right. I'm not letting Shelby sit down because she has some big news to share with you guys this morning. Shelby.
I'm pregnant. Yeah. It's official last night on social media, so now I can stand up here and not feel chubby. So. But I told Veronica it wasn't fair that I had to speak on Mary being pregnant last week because it was really hard to not share my own news. So there you go.
Let's give her a hand clap. She's been a trooper coming in and not always feeling the best and being here early. She's a week behind my daughter-in-law. And I told her she feels like my daughter, so I'm going to be a double grandma. What is your due date?
14th, August 14th.
Okay. And Christine is August 7th.
Will you stand and join me in worship? Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. And you have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. Yeah. And you have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. And you have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. The beautiful thing about love is that it comes in so many amazing ways. And the center of all of that is Jesus. He is love. And I love what Veronica said about how it's not just her relationship with her husband, and it's not just the relationships that we have on this earth, but it's also that relationship that we have with God, because that is the perfect love that we strive for. And it's not achievable on earth, but it is achievable in this eternal life that was promised to us by God. And I just think that is one of the most beautiful things. And when we think about Valentine's Day, let's think about it in that way, because I mean, it's become such, commercial, like, you buy boxes of chocolates for everybody and teddy bears and things that are really fun. I love all of those things, but I think we could look at it from that point of view as well, and it could become something more meaningful. Old things have passed away. Your love has stayed the same. Your constant grace remains the cornerstone. And things that we thought were dead are breathing in life again. You caused your sun to shine on darkest nights. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be our anthem song. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. The hopeless have found their hope. The orphans now have a home. All that was lost has found its place in you, yeah. And you lift our weary heads, and you make us strong. Instead, you took these rags and made us beautiful. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be our anthem song. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. Oh, you are the one our hearts adore. Sing, Jesus, we love you. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Our hearts adore. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. We love you. Oh, how we love you. Oh, you are the one our hearts adore. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. You can go ahead and take a seat for this next song. So I wrote a song that's called Love Come Down, and this song is not necessarily what I would think of as like a Valentine's Day song. It's definitely not a love song by any means, but it has this story to it where I'm basically talking about that eternal promise, the love that is only from heaven. And that's the most important love that we need. So it's talking about that love coming down and raining upon this earth and on our life, and God's blessings just pouring out through his love. Look up, see the sky is growing darker and the light is drifting farther away. Look up, see the storm is getting closer and our spirits growing colder day by day. Look up and see the world is getting ready for a new thing that is coming our way. Let love come down and start a revival. Come fill up this space, open our hearts and restore our faith. Let love come down and bring revolution. You're our only hope, so let your love come down. Let love come down, love come down. Ooh, ooh. Wake up and see the light on the horizon. God is waiting for our eyes to turn to him. Wake up and see that things are getting better. There are changes in the weather I can see. Wake up and see the world is getting ready for a new thing that is coming our way. Let love come down and start a revival. Come fill up this space, open our hearts and restore our faith. Let love come down and bring revolution. You're our only hope, so let your love come down. Let love come down, love come down, down, down. Ooh, ooh. An outpouring is coming, an outpouring is coming, an outpouring is coming. Let it rain, let it rain. An outpouring is coming, an outpouring is coming, an outpouring is coming. Let it rain, let it rain. An outpouring is coming, an outpouring is coming. Let it fall down from the heavens. Let it rain, let it rain. An outpouring is coming, an outpouring is coming, an outpouring is coming. Let it rain, let it rain. Let love come down and start a revival. Come fill up this space, open our hearts and restore faith. Let love come down and bring revolution. You're our only hope, so let your love come down. Let love come down, love come down. Let your love come down. Let love come down, love come down, love come down, down, down.
Most of the time when we see Jesus, he is surrounded by people. At his birth, the shepherds were crowded around his manger to see him. As a toddler, the Magi came with gifts. When he was 12 years old, we find him in the temple, surrounded by teachers. And then early in his ministry, he calls this ragtag bunch of guys to follow him and to learn from him. And they end up having like a 3-year-long camping trip together. And then there are several places we read passages like this. Now, large crowds were going along with him, A large crowd was following him and pressing in on him. A crowd was sitting around him. This is just people everywhere pushing on him. And I'm just saying, if that were me, it would not go well. But also, here's what's said about Jesus and the crowds. In Matthew 9, when he saw the crowds, he felt compassion for them. In Mark 6, when he went ashore, he saw a large crowd and he had compassion on them. And this compassion moved him to action. He healed them, he taught them, he loved them. Because unlike us, Jesus didn't just see a crowd. He saw individual people who were hurting, who were helpless, who were hungry. And here's one thing I really love about Jesus. In the midst of the crowd, Jesus always finds the one. There's a moment, it's one of my favorite stories in Scripture, where Jesus is coming up on shore, and again, there's this very large crowd. And a man runs right to him. He's been waiting for him, and he falls at his feet. He humbles himself. Now, this man is a ruler in the synagogue. He would have been someone who was so highly respected. And he is begging Jesus to come with him and heal his 12-year-old daughter who is about to die. So the crowd starts moving in that direction. And as they walk, a woman who had been struggling with an issue of blood for 12 years sneaks her way into the crowd. She's heard that Jesus was coming. She's been trying to be healed for many, many years. She spent all of her money and nothing seems to work. There are so many people who would have considered her an outcast. That's what she was. She was considered a sinner. She wasn't even allowed to be out in public. And yet, she has heard that he is coming. She goes out to the crowd. And what she believes in her faith is that if she can just touch the hem of his garment, she will be healed. And so she makes her way into the crowd, no doubt trying to hide herself. She knows she's not supposed to be there. And she takes a chance. And she touches the hem of his garment instantly. She's made well. At that moment, Jesus says, "Who touched me?" He felt power coming out of him. And as the disciples and the crowds are pushing in on him, they say, how are you going to know who did that? There are all of these people, which is a little bit funny just because he's Jesus. So he definitely knows who's doing it. He's not asking the question because he wants an answer. He's asking the question because he wants her to identify herself. And finally, when she realizes that she's not going to be able to hide, she tells him the truth. No doubt all of the people who are standing around are condemning her. And she's speaking to this man who seemed, for some reason, to want to hear her. Because here's the deal, and I don't know if you've ever been there. Sometimes we want to be healed, but we don't necessarily want to tell people what we've been healed of. The truth is, we have no idea where this issue of blood came from. We have no reason to believe it was a punishment. But maybe she started to believe it herself. Maybe for those years she was desperate. And here she is trembling and falling down in front of people. Again, he's not doing this to embarrass her. He's doing it to show his power. She's, I'm sure, in complete shock. And at that point, he says, "Your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Now, I want you to picture what's actually happening here. We have this ruler who everyone respects, everyone looks to, and his need is being interrupted by a woman who is seen as unclean, who is seen as unworthy, who is seen as someone who has no right to interrupt. So someone comes from the house where the daughter is and basically says, let's not bother Jesus anymore because it's too far gone, she's dead. Jesus responds, don't be afraid, believe, she will be healed. Stop crying. She's asleep. They're making fun of him. They know she's dead. But he walks into the house and he takes the child's hand and he raises her up. Maybe it's just the way I read the Bible, but I think it's funny that after he raises her from the dead, one of the first things he says is, get her something to eat. I think maybe death makes you hungry. I'm not sure. I also think it's interesting that he makes a point of saying, don't tell anyone that this happened publicly. Basically, what he was saying is, it's not time for the world to see this yet. So again, let's compare and contrast. On one side, we have this filthy, despised, condemned, unclean woman. And on the other side, we have the daughter of a ruler. She's only 12, she's innocent, she's his only daughter. This is a prime example of what the world would say about who deserved healing. For some reason, again, the way I read scripture, I've always wondered if the woman with the issue of blood felt guilty, like she was in the way, like her interruption wasn't as valuable. I've also thought it was interesting that the amount of time that the woman was sick and needed to be healed is exactly the number of years that the child has been alive. And one of the points that I think Jesus is trying to make here is that, yes, this little girl is the daughter of a really, really important man. But I let this other woman interrupt me to show you that she also is the daughter of a very important man. Do you ever think that you don't deserve the miracle and others do? I'm gonna tell you you're wrong, but maybe it's not for the reason you think. You don't deserve it. In this story, neither of those people do. We can't make a chart, a formula. He listens to our prayers, he cares, but ultimately, it's his discretion. There's nothing we can do to ensure a miracle. Neither of those people, nor any of us, are righteous, even the ones who look that way in the world. So here's the point. Jesus came for people. He came for all people. He loved them, he cared for them, he gave his life for them. For the crowd, for the small group, for the one, for me, and for you. Jesus came for people. He didn't come to set up a program or a business proposal where you can buy in for salvation. He came for each of us so that we could have a relationship with him. He loved the multitudes, he loved the crowds and the groups of people who showed up, but he loved them because they were full of individuals. He came for the one. And my prayer is that this week you will be overwhelmed by the thought that he came for you.